Hey third grade, so we're going to take what we learned last week during our monochromatic introduction and apply that to a new project this week. So if you remember from last week, monochromatic means one color. So we're again going to be choosing one color to do this project with, but you're going to get two bonus colors, one white and one black, and I'll show you why. Let's go take a look. Last week we learned that monochromatic means one color. We also took a look at two paintings by famous artists who also used monochromatic palettes for their paintings. Those artists used tints and shades of colors in their artwork. Tints and shades are two vocabulary words. Tints equals color plus white. So take a guess about whether or not that color will be lighter or darker. If you guessed lighter, you're correct. When you mix white with a color, it gets lighter. Now let's talk about shades. Shades equal a color plus black. So, do you think that color gets lighter or darker? If you said darker, you are right. Adding black to a color will make it darker. When artists explore the tints and shades of a color, they can make something called a value scale. A value scale shows you the lightest version of a color all the way to the darkest version of the color. We're going to be making our own version of a value scale, but we're going to do it in a fun way. You need crayons, pencil, and paper for this project. There are some alternative materials you could use. I'll talk about those in a moment. We're going to be making a moonlight outdoor scene for this project. So the first thing that you're going to do is draw a horizon line, which is the line where the sky meets the ground. Draw that near the bottom of your paper. Then draw a moon. I recommend a full moon, which is just a regular circle, probably about the size of a quarter or bigger. Then get out your crayons. You're going to be choosing a color, and you'll also need black. I'm kind of getting in the Halloween spirit, so I'm going to choose orange as my color and make my moonlight scene kind of spooky with Halloween details that I'm going to add at the end. Next, I'm going to draw the value scale part of my picture. To do this, I'm going to make 3 or 4 bigger circles around my moon. Each circle is going to get bigger and bigger as I move towards the edge of my page. Let me show you that again. I have my moon and my horizon line. I'm going to draw another circle bigger than the first around my moon. Then I'm going to draw a second circle, but this time I can't fit the whole circle on the page, so I'm only going to draw the part of the circle that I can see. The next one is going to be even bigger, and I can see even less of that circle. So these two are just curved lines that go from the top of the page to my horizon line. Once I'm done drawing my value scale in the sky, I'm going to start by creating a shade of my color to color in the ground. So anything below my horizon line is the ground. I've chosen orange. So first I'm going to draw a layer of orange. And make sure to use careful coloring. We talked about careful coloring during week 2, so make sure you're coloring the same direction and not leaving any white spots behind. Next, I'm going to use my black crayon to make a shade of orange by carefully and gently coloring a layer of black over the top of what I just colored. I don't want to press too hard so that I block all of the orange from showing through. I kind of want to mix these colors together as best I can using a crayon. For this project, if you don't want to use crayons, you could also do the same thing with colored pencils. It might just take you a little bit longer because colored pencils are smaller. You could also do this with paint. The difference is I would mix my colors ahead of time if I were using paints. So I would take some orange paint and mix a little bit of black into it and then paint the ground with that shade that I've created. Next, we're going to use tints to color in the sky. Each circle around your moon is going to get slightly darker than the one you colored before. The moon will stay white, so that first circle, don't color it in. The second circle, you're going to color very, very lightly, barely pressing your crayon or whatever tool you're using onto the paper. The next circle is going to be slightly darker, so I'm going to press a little bit harder than I did the first time. Eventually, when you've colored in your whole sky, you will work your way from the color white all the way up to the plain hue or the plain color that you have chosen as your monochromatic color. So by the end of my sky, I'm going to be pressing very hard to fill in that last ring of the sky with my orange crayon so that I have a bright, dark orange at the very end. One thing I'd like you to try to do is follow the motion of the curve when you're coloring in. So I'm not coloring in scribbles or straight up and down or side to side. I'm following that curve that I drew when I made my circle lines at the beginning. All right, I'm all done coloring now, and what I want you to notice is how using the tints and creating a value scale in the sky has helped give the illusion of a glow around the moon, and that's going to give it kind of this spooky feel for me while I'm adding my Halloween details. You don't have to use Halloween details if you don't want to, but what I'm going to do is create some silhouettes. Silhouettes are just black shadows of objects because the light is behind them in a picture. So I'm going to create some Halloween themed silhouettes for my picture using just a black crayon, and I'm coloring right over the top of my sky. You could also do this with black Sharpie marker or black tempera paint if you have it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and speed this up and finish adding my Halloween silhouettes into my picture, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, so now that I'm done with my moonlight spooky scene with monochromatic colors, I'm going to take a picture of it, upload it on Canvas, and make sure I turn it in by Friday so that I can get full credit. Good job, guys. Can't wait to see your drawings.